Hello and welcome to Blarman TV. I'm sitting here after Carlisle have just won 3-1 at home to Bradford, and I'm actually sitting here in a bit of a different setup, and that's because there's some construction going on at the minute outside my house, and the noise is just, it's not exactly the best for recording where my usual setup is. So for now, I'm down here. It's not that bad, but let's hope I'm back to where I belong. in next to no time. But yeah, on to today's game, and like I said last week, if we win today, then the point last week is a really good point, and that's what's happened today. And three players in particular stood out to me today. Zanzala obviously getting 2 goals, one a lot better than the other. One of them a really, really good header, and the other, I'm not even sure it was him that got the goal, because obviously it was a bit of a scuffle in the box. You couldn't see who actually got the last touch on it, but it did go in, and that's all that matters. And then the other 2 players, Joe Riley, he was great in midfield. He looked really sharp. I saw him having a few shots, and he was quite unlucky not to score in one instance. And the other one, Brendan Dickinson, and that's a real compliment, because he hasn't been playing well recently, and I think he turned it around a lot today with an excellent performance. I think I don't know whether he got his assist at any point, but he definitely looked one of our better players today, and it's a relief, because I've known for a bit that he could be one of our best players, and that he could play like he played today. And yeah, just luckily today he had a good game, and we saw off Bradford, and we were the best team in the first half. The goal we conceded, we were very unlucky to concede, and I usually hate that response, being unlucky, but it was a really nasty deflection that I think, it's very difficult to prevent that. And what I like today as well is we didn't play brilliantly after we let that goal in, but we didn't go on to concede 2 more. There was one instance where I think Bradford could have really, really hurt us, but didn't. And it's them in this instance, a crucial save, or, earlier in the season it was one crucial tackle that just stopped us from bottling games. And we've held on to a lead today, which is something we haven't been able to do for a long, long time. And it's the first win, I believe, since Exeter, which was the first game back after our big break. And that Zanzala goal, the equaliser last week, I think is 100% to blame for the positive result this week. Without that equaliser last week, I don't think we win this game. But it filled the confidence of the squad, and especially Zanzala, who was by far, he's definitely got man of the match for me. He played brilliantly on and off the ball. He's a lot better at track and back than I think a lot of the other players are, and I think Josh Coyote and Amari Patrick are both amazing players, but the thing that I think they lack is the ability to track back. And these last few games, most of our goals have come from an overload on the right back position, and Tanner's he's probably our best player, honestly, and it's scary how good he is considering how young he is. But he usually has to deal with about 3 players at that right back position, but Brendan Dickinson today played on that side, and I think with him being he used to be a fullback at one of his other clubs, he's very good at the track and back part, and he really helped George Tanner with the defensive side today, which I think he has. It's not even as if he needs help on his defence, it's just no defender can fight off 3 players consistently like George Tanner's been asked to do in these last few games. And it's really showed today, because it was a great game for us, and it was not so much for Bradford. But someone else I need to touch on, their keeper was shocking. He was dreadfully bad today, their keeper. And it's no, their keeper didn't have a good game, but at the same time, even if they had a good keeper, we'd have still won that game today. Again, their goal, a deflection, it wasn't the prettiest goal, and they had some chances after that, but so did we. Gimme Toure came on for Zanzala, and he didn't play well attacking wise, but I have a suspicion that he wasn't put on to do that. And I don't think he did what he was put on to do badly, and I think he was put on to not run at players, but just keep the ball up at the other end of the pitch. Just hold on to it. Don't try and do anything with it. Just try and get them free kicks. Just keep the ball at the top of the pitch so they're not constantly on the counter attack, and that's what he did today. He wasn't brilliant, and there was one instance where I was really frustrated with him because he tries to do too much every single time. Like, he does the bit of skill and you're like, oh, that's great, and then he tries to do it again and balls it up and completely removes any positives that he had built on from his last sort of skill move sort of thing. But yeah, he did his job. He did what he needed to. The midfield today is where I thought it was won though, because these last few games our midfield's been quite dreadful. Today we were on top of them in the midfield, and we know they've got good players because we've seen them at our club. Elliot Watt, for one, brilliant player, brilliant young player as well. I think that's the big thing you need to look at there, his age. I really, really wanted us to get him in the summer, but we didn't. Obviously Joe Riley instead, and to be perfectly honest with you, I know exactly which one I'd take right now. And it belongs to the winning side today because Joe Riley played brilliantly. He's clearly been brought back in as an Elliot Watt replacement, and I think he's done more than Elliot Watt did. That's a bit harsh on Elliot Watt because I did like him as a player, but I think Joe Riley has really proved that he's every bit as good as Elliot Watt today. So yeah, my 3 man of the matches today: Zanzala, Dickinson, and of course Joe Riley in the midfield. Reece Bennett obviously getting the goal today, but again I didn't think that was one of his better games because he conceded a few chances late on, but none of them were put away, and that's what matters today. That we actually did get 3 points, puts us into 12th. It didn't move us up in the table as much as I would have liked it to, but it has stopped us from drifting into the bottom half of the table. And I think as long as we can just keep in this top half of the table for now, then towards the end of the season when we've picked up our form again, I hope that's now actually, but for now, don't fall into the bottom half of the table and keep the playoff promotion chances alive. And then we need our good run if we're going to go through the playoffs. The team that always wins the playoffs is the one that gets in there through a good run of form towards the end of the season. Obviously Northampton last season. It's whoever's in good form towards the end of the season that usually wins them. And if we've got our bad form now, then hopefully we can pick it back up towards the end of the season, and that'll be when we can get into the playoffs and hopefully get us promoted to League One. But yeah, that's all I'm going to say for today. Good game, and in a bit